Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 9 of 2025, starting February 24th. I'm Spencer W. Stuart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues in Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar Collecting Insights. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below. The Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. Links to auctions and news items can also be found below in the descriptions. But for now, let's get into last week's results. Monday saw Gorringes in East Essex, UK, having a sale of 694 lots, of which 258 were books, and 218 were sold, ultimately making a sell-through rate of 84.5%. The highest lot on the day was lot 1281, a manuscript devotional work from the 15th century. Its estimates were set at £5,000 to £8,000, and it ultimately realized £10,000 on the day. A buy-in of note was lot 1502, a first edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The estimate was set at £5,000 to £6,000. It was an eclectic sale. Most of the buy-ins were driven by condition issues as well as incomplete copies. A number of lots exceeded expectation in this sale. Here were a few that stuck out. Lot 1400, Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, estimate set at £300 to £500, seeing £900 on the day. Lot 1418, Thomas Hardy's Tess of the D'Urbervilles, estimate set at £600 to £800, ultimately realizing £1,600. And finally, lot 1451, Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, set at £400 to £600, seeing £1,200 on the day. On to Tuesday and then Wednesday. Il Ponte in Milan had 3 sessions across 2 days. It saw 363 lots and had a sell-through rate of 96%. The highest price realized across the 2 days was lot 100, Jean de La Fontaine's Fables, published in 1668. The estimates were set at 7,000 to 10,000 euros, and it saw 38,000 euros. Interestingly enough, there were 2 items on the day that realized this amount, the other being 11 works of ALDE. The estimates set here were 22,000 to 28,000 euros, ultimately again seeing 38,000 euros on the day. Some buy-ins of note: lot 129, a facsimile produced in 2004, estimate set here at 300 to 500 euros. And the next lot, 130, another facsimile, also produced in 2004, estimates there set at 400 to 600 euros. Other buy-ins on the day were early print books with low estimates. A surprise performance from the sale was lot 31, the works of Petracci, produced in 1541. The estimates set were 1,800 to 2,500 euros, ultimately realizing 20,000 euros on the day. Still with Wednesday, Ader had a sale featuring Elie Shapiro's collection. There were 184 lots, of which 97 sold, for a sell-through rate of 52.7%. The highest price realized on the day was lot 11, a 16th century Hebrew Bible. The estimates were set at 2,000 to 3,000 euros. It ultimately realized 8,467 euros. A buy-in of note from the day, lot 89, featured works of Rochallin, produced in 1519. The estimates set here were 1,500 to 2,000 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation on the day was lot 48, an ordinance document that outlined the renewal of trade bans with Jewish inhabitants of a city. The estimates set here were 350 to 400 euros, and it ultimately realized €2,148. Another lot that exceeded expectation was Lot 54, a small Hebrew Kabbalah manuscript with figures, estimates set at €300 to €400, realizing €1,820. Still with Wednesday, Aguttes had a manuscript sale, of which there were 240 lots, 214 sold, making for an 89% sell-through rate. The highest price realized was for Lot 105, a manuscript letter written by Claude Monet. The estimates on this were €1,000 to €1,200, and it realized €15,600. A buy-in of note was Lot 266, a portfolio of Bernard Buffet lithographs set to the writing of Charles Baudelaire, produced in 1962. Its estimates were set at €20,000 to €22,000. Of the 26 lots that didn't sell through this sale, it's interesting to note that 8 were actually pulled prior to the sale itself. There were a few surprises from the sale, such as Lot 105 mentioned earlier, but one that was a true runaway was Lot 198, a letter by Mishima to Tennessee Williams, written in 1957. The estimates set on this were €500 to €600, and it went up to €14,950 on the day. On to Thursday, Forum's online auction had a sale featuring items from magician Ricky Jay's collection. There were 211 items offered, of which 206 sold, making for a 97.6% sell-through rate. The highest result on the day was Lot 173, a collection of 18 late Georgian caricatures, estimates set at £300 to £400, seeing £5,000. A buy-in of note from the day, a printed playbill of Macbeth, printed in 1763, estimates set at £300 to £400. A lot that exceeded expectation on the day was Lot 69. The representations of several fetters, irons, and engines of torture produced by Overton and Hoole, printed in 1729. The estimates set were £300 to £500, and it saw £3,200. Again with Thursday, Freeman's Hindman had a sale of American historical ephemera and photography, including African Americana. There were 284 lots offered, of which 230 sold, making for an 81% sell-through rate. The highest result was Lot 236, Abraham Lincoln's The Emancipation Proclamation, published in 1862. The estimates set were $7,000 to $10,000 and it saw $18,000. The majority of buy-ins from this sale were in the range of the lowest estimates and featured predominantly early photography. A lot that exceeded expectations on the day was Lot 198, a letter from a formerly enslaved man named George, dated July 10th, 1827. The estimates set on this were $500 to $700, and it saw $10,200. Chiswick in the UK had a sale with 224 items, of which 155 sold, making for a 69% sell-through rate. The highest price realized on the day was for Lot 23, a 15th century preacher's manual. The estimates set on this were $2,800 to £3,200, ultimately seeing £7,560. Note the copy was heavily annotated. A buy-in of note, Lot 64, a collection of photographs as well as letters written by Sir Samuel Hoare from 1921 through to 1950. The estimates on this were £3,500 to £4,500. A lot that exceeded expectation on the day was Lot 171, a book produced by Greenock Press from 1929, numbered 9 of 25 specially bound copies. The estimates were £1,200 to £1,800, and it saw just a little bit above £5,000. On to week 10, these are a few sales that we have our eye on. Tuesday in France, ALDE's sale, Ancient Books of the 15th to 19th Century, sale number 30425. Wednesday in the UK, Dominic Winter's sale, 30525. Ader's Illuminations, Ancient and Modern Books, sale 155654 in France. Thursday's busy. First sale on the day, Forum's Auction in the UK, an online sale. Books and Works on Paper, sale number 976. Jeffrey S. Evans and Associates Winter Americana sale in the United States, sale number 30625. Still in the U.S., but on the West Coast, PBA Galleries Fine Photography Books and Images, sale number 833. Tajan's Books, Manuscripts, and Prints, sale number 2520 in France. Online through antiquarianauctions.com, Antiquarian Book Sale 121. In Chicago, Potter and Potter's Auction, a countercultural cross-section. And finally, in Carlisle, UK on Thursday, Thomas Roddick Auctioneers, 30625. And finally, there will be a sale on the weekend, Schilb Antiquarian Rare Books, sale number 359870 in Columbia, Missouri. On to the news. The University of Michigan has just republished the oldest known cookbook of an African-American woman, first published in 1866. The Conference for the Rare Books and Manuscripts section of the American Library Association's registration is now open. June 24th to 27th will see them hosting their sessions at Yale Library. Between February 27th and March 2nd, Firsts Online will be having an online fair. And if you find yourself in Archer City, Texas, Larry McMurtry's Literary Center will be offering books for public view as well as for sale from Larry McMurtry's collection. For those who don't know McMurtry, he died in 2021. Many of his novels were adopted to the screen, such as The Last Picture Show. He's also a storied bookseller, and particularly Archer City is full of buildings, full of books, acquired and collected by McMurtry. An acquisition of note from the week. The University of Pittsburgh has just acquired the Blair Witch Project archives for the Pitt's Horror Studies collection. And finally, we're still accepting registrations for next month's Collecting Insights webinars. It's set into 3 different distinct moments in people's collecting: emerging, expanding, and legacy, with various topics relevant to those periods of someone's collecting practice. Through these hour-long sessions, participants will examine case studies relevant to acquiring as well as deaccessioning collections. As with previous sessions, each offering will be attended by private collectors, professional librarians, and curators, as well as booksellers and auctioneers. All registrants will receive a complimentary copy of Contemporary Issues in Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting. Well, that's been the week from here. What did you think of last week? Were there any results that surprised you? Any items that you had your eye on? Please put your comments in the chat and we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to stay in touch, please be sure to subscribe to the channel as well as turn on your notifications. All for now. See you next week.